Danny Littman and Paige Lopinski were high school friends that rocked the world with their electronic dance music. Ghost with such an iconic name, Bonnie and Clyde, the duo is ready to outgrow their past with a new taste of music and collaborations.
How did you guys first meet, then decided to make music together?
Me and Bonnie met in 8th grade, aka Paige. We grew up in the same area in Northern Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C., which is located on the east mid-Atlantic region of North America, of the United States. And we were just friends in high school. Fast forward to senior year of college, we started bonding over the love of making music. And when we graduated from college, we were like, what's a brand we can get behind? And we landed on Bonnie and Clyde because we thought it would work. And we thought it was just something that was cool and, badass, excuse my language, but that's what we really were thinking. And we just started making music, and the first song, did well, which led to the next song, which led to the next opportunity, which and it just kept going from there.
What's your inspiration when you try to make music together? Like, what's the initial inspiration when you guys started this journey?
So when we started it, our main inspiration was to create something that people could be inspired and grow from. So our first song was called The Ride, and the lyrics for The Ride were, the way to find yourself was through the ride. And that we didn't even realize what we were doing. Like we had an intention, like, want people to grow, but looking back on it, it's like just crazy to see. And then our second song, it was called Rise Above, and the lyrics were, we rise and then we fall, but that won't break me. Just stuff that just makes you like believe to keep going and appreciate the journey and just never stop believing in yourself. And that's really what we strive to do with our music in general.
So recently, I believe on September, you guys joined forces, if I may say that, with this really cool house music producers, Fomo, for this highly anticipated club anthem, I would say, titled Media. So could you tell us a little bit about this collaboration?
Our manager's good long time friends with Bonnie and Clyde, and just kind of thought it would be a good idea to get us in the same room and see, what we could do together. We both make similar styles of music, or at least there's a common thread. So we got in the studio with them and just immediately clicked, and just played some ideas that we had. They played us some ideas they had, and we landed on this song that we had. Not a full song, but an idea we've had for about 2 years. And immediately Paige, with her beautiful voice, decided to just start kind of just humming these like melodies and stuff. And it was just such a perfect fit that we knew that was definitely going to be the idea we were going to be working on. And it all came together in like one afternoon. And, we put some finishing touches over the next couple weeks. But it was just kind of one of those moments where you just get into this flow state and just kind of the whole thing came together perfectly.
So I would like to ask Paige about this. How does it feel to work with a bunch of guys? Is there any sleeping schedule that you need to adapt with? Because they have to play video games? I don't know.
So I've been in not only the electronic dance industry, but like the music industry now for like 8 years, and a lot more men are in the industry than women. So it's more so often that I'm in the studio with guys that are producing than with women. And if I am in a studio with women, they're most likely songwriters. I actually haven't been in the studio with too many female producers. So it's kind of become just like the norm working with guys. And in general, I like working with guys. I think it's actually an interesting topic that a lot of women that are in the industry like to say is such a negative thing, which I get where that perspective comes from, being that they're a woman and want things more womanly, but I think it's kind of to our benefit because we stand out. We definitely, you know, when there's a lot of men around and there's a woman, a lot of the time people are, you know, I hate to say it, but nowadays a lot of these like female acts that are like skyrocketing, you know, it doesn't, obviously they're talented too, but being a woman I think only helps, and I think it's cool working with guys.
Great. It's always fun to be the only one who stand up. I like that one. What are the challenges that you guys had to face during the production?
I think the biggest challenge when it comes to making any song is figuring out what you want to say. Because once you figure out what you want to say, everything kind of goes from there. It's super, it almost, and then you kind of catch like what he said, flow state, where you all come to a common ground. We were like, okay, this is the direction we want to go. This is the speed. This is what we want to make people do when they listen to this song. Like, for example, with this song, we were like, we want to make people dance. We want it to be this certain tempo, which is, it's 126, right?
Or 125 or something, yeah.
Which is like lit on the fast, you could say the faster side of the house music. You know, it's 127, 128. It gets more big room, but we're not talking about that side anymore. Once we've figured out what we want to talk about, that's the biggest challenge. And it actually happened pretty instantly because when Fomo came into the studio, they had a demo that had a sample that said, I need ya, I need ya, I need ya, I need ya, from maybe some other sample pack or whatever. But we used that as a foundation for the theme, because when he probably heard the sample initially, you know, that kind of probably led to the chords and his motivation and feeling behind the music, which then translated well to us continuing that vein of theme. But we definitely expanded it, you know, a lot more, because all he had was I need ya, which was, I don't even know whose voice, random sample pack.
It was from like an arcade, sample.
Yeah, exactly. So with this song, like most songs, it's a lot harder. This song was quick because it was kind of right in front of us the whole time. And when it came to even the drop idea, going, I'll wait for you if you wait for me, in the drop, like making that the drop lead, you could say, it was right in front of us the whole time. You know, sometimes it is that obvious. And this was one of those scenarios where it was, and it worked out. And walking out of the session, we were all just hyped because we were just like, this is cool.
Okay, so I'm curious, I want to ask Morgan about this. So how Fomo decides who you are going to work with? Like, you know, I believe that when you collab with musicians, you know, you have to have that same vision or that same energy. So how did you finally decide, okay, I'm going to go with them, but I don't think I'm going to go with them, you know?
Yeah, so most of the time we try to work with people whose music we play in our sets, just because we find that stuff to be the most inspiring. But with Bonnie and Clyde, we kind of just had a mutual friendship through our manager. And we always just try to get in the studio with people just to feel out their vibe and see if we have like a connection there. And we all just had like an immediate friendship, and we were able to write the song all in one session. So it was overall a great experience.
Yeah, for us, I think it's always important that we're like a fan of the other groups or other person's music first, because if it's not like anything inspiring, then it's kind of just like working for work's sake, when that's not what we want it. We never want it to feel like work. It's always got to be, you know, creating and, you know, doing something that we feel like feels right. So this was a no-brainer.
So the chemistry was there since the beginning, I would say.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we've known of Bonnie and Clyde for a long time. So, I mean, we've been following them on like social media and stuff. So we kind of figured that we would, I mean, and also we're both DJs as well. So we have something in common. But we kind of figured that we'd be friends just from their social media presence. And then we were right.
So is there any upcoming projects that we should be anticipating for, or any Asia tour? We're here waiting for you. Come to the other part of the world. So is there any upcoming projects that we should be anticipating for, or any Asian tour? Asian people over here, come to the other part of the world.
Yeah, we'll be over there.
Good.
Yeah, we've never been to Asia, but we got plans on coming. And then in terms of upcoming stuff for us, we have a single plan to come out the top of the year which is a more club record, like a more dance type song. And yeah, and then Bonnie and Clyde has an album coming out soon. So if you guys want to talk about that.
But Paige.
Yeah, we have it's our debut album. We've been only releasing singles and EPs up until this point. And our debut album is called Tears in Paradise, which is kind of this cool contrasting name that defines Clyde and I's relationship throughout this project. And also just like being a musician in like this Hollywood landscape, living in Los Angeles, and where it seems like a lot of things are very glorified, there's also a lot of sadness and a lot of fighting to get to a place that is this where you make it place. And you know, it's not all happy days. There's a lot of hard times, but it's also like just a cool experience that like Clyde and I have written about. And I would say it's been an accumulation of I don't know, just all of our emotions from the past couple years. And we're finally airing out a lot of things we've never told our fans. And it's definitely like an emotional album, kind of like our release, but it's definitely a cool first album for people to like understand where we're at now and where we're coming from. And yeah, and we're used to being like these, like we started off in the industry as trap artists, and then we were more bassy, and now we're releasing more pop leaning house type records and telling more stories. We've always kind of told stories, but now it's kind of really going to be in a big package of music for people to just dive more into who we are as people and who we are together. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Looking forward to the upcoming album. So I believe that your music as Bonnie and Clyde evolved, and I believe that there are a lot of other musicians as well that they're sometimes afraid to change directions as time goes by. So is there any tips or inspirations that you want to share on that to other musicians?
Especially right here in Indonesia.
I think that I think that there should be no fear. Everybody changes as they grow and live, and you constantly evolve, and your preference on music constantly changes. Like the music that I was listening to on the everyday 8 years ago when we started is completely different than the music I was listening to now. And I think that, you know, the people that are really there for you are going to grow and evolve with you, and the people that are just there because of that one song, then let them like that one song, and that's okay too.
Yeah, I think just change is necessary. And I think sometimes, I think doing something specific and being consistent with it is super important. But when it comes to music, it's all art. And if you want to flow into another direction, I think wherever the tide takes you, you should flow with it. And not be scared to try new things, because it might open up this whole new world.
Wherever the tide takes you, you should flow with it.
Yeah, I think the more you I just also think the more you fight the change, the more what you're doing won't become or won't appear as genuine, because it's literally something you're probably not enjoying doing anymore. So I think the minute you just decide to take the leap and make a change, even if it's in your life, let alone music, like that's like typically a very big point and can lead to some amazing things.
Don't fight the tide.
Don't fight it.
Let's flow with it.
Thank you so much, guys, for your time, for spending a little bit of your time to talk to us. I had so much fun talking to you guys and knowing more about this project, and I'll be waiting for all of you to come here to Indonesia. Bye.
Thanks for having us. We can't wait to come as well.
Thanks so much, Rebecca.